Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend, and I think we had a pretty good kickstart to the Monday, especially with FOMC, the interest rate decision that's going to be coming out on Wednesday. Tomorrow is probably just going to be more sideways chop. I don't expect a ton of volatility, just waiting to see what the guidance is in terms of interest rates for 2026, because, the probability, we'll talk about this in a few moments, is basically almost 100% that we're probably going to get a 25 basis point cut. More importantly, what happened today, we see Palantir that is starting to really hold this strong consolidation zone that it's traded in technically for a while now. We see Nvidia that is experiencing a lot of bullishness, especially in the after hours after a huge headline from the administration. And speaking of the administration, also coming out with a big move that could help accelerate the whole AI trade. So if you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. We're trying to hit 30,000 subscribers. Help me do it. Thank you guys so much. Pop it up on the screen here. Let's talk about Palantir. It's back up here at $180, guys. Now, Palantir is doing quite well. I mean, this dipped down here to about 152. You see Palantir that quickly accumulates and re-enters back into this consolidation zone between 170 and 185. One thing that I do really like for Palantir here now is it now is trading more towards the upper zone of this 180 kind of 185 resistance area. And as long as we see a macroeconomic environment that continues to look healthy, I think here in the short term, Palantir could be testing that. And we even have that here looking on the weekly, that Palantir was basically testing that zone. We saw a little bit of resistance, and now it's just kind of hanging out here. Palantir does a great job just kind of hanging out in the zone. We saw with the recent announcements last week with the whole working on the AI power demand or the chain reaction, the operating system, bringing those types of software solutions to the number one constraint right now in AI, I think will be incredibly bullish for Palantir. And we'll just let time basically do its thing for this stock. One thing that I do like, I don't know if you guys saw this with Alex Karp, this where people were kind of criticizing why he couldn't stay still in this chair during this interview. If you guys saw the original, and now you're seeing all these AI videos that are coming out, and they just make me laugh. You can see Karp here just going crazy. So this one is obviously here at AI, but if you haven't seen the original, this doesn't make any sense, but I encourage you to see that, and there's a lot of just kind of humor that's being tossed around with it. Now, talking about that, other than that funny clip, nothing else particular within Palantir. It's just kind of trading between its 50 and its 200 day as we speak. Talking about Nvidia is incredibly bullish right now. We see it even that retouched the 190 for a second here, got a little bit of resistance after during the intraday here. Nvidia had a lot of resistance at that 185. Anytime we saw it touch 185, we basically saw a dump. 185, 186 saw a dump, and eventually we had this push here to 189, and here on this day chart, Nvidia has now recaptured is above its 50-day moving average, which is incredibly bullish, especially as the market leader. Now, what was the catalyst for Nvidia getting pushed here? From Amit's X, really like getting his quick up-to-dates. He tweets right here talking about Trump officially lets Nvidia sell into China, and this is mega bullish because a lot of the market and even Nvidia was kind of really not accounting for this because of the uncertainty that was that was basically lying around from it. What President basically comes out to say here is that he informed President Xi that the United States will allow Nvidia to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China and other countries under the conditions to allow for continued strong national security, and 25% of that is going to be paid to the U.S. This policy here is saying to help support jobs, strengthen U.S. manufacturing, saying that NVIDIA U.S. customers are already moving forward with their incredible, highly advanced Blackwell chips. So awesome to see here. You can see this is incredibly bullish. We're seeing a repricing of NVIDIA as we speak, and that is in the after hours. Could this reclaim back up to the 200? I think definitely, especially with kind of this new technical bullish indicator that's being flagged. And on top of that, this was not all priced into NVIDIA's earnings in terms of their previews, what their forecasts are in terms of guidance. So awesome to see here. Looking at that, you can see here's the actual official tweet saying here that he actually has informed that they're going to be allowing the shipping of the H200 products. On top of that, you have Trump coming out here saying that he is signing a one rule executive order on AI this week, saying that basically that there's only going to be one rule book if they want to continue to be the leader in AI, saying that they're currently beating AI in the other countries, but that's not going to last long if we need all 50 states to have that same approval. That's just too much regulatory approval, and things just can't move quick enough. So he's basically saying, hey, it's going to be a one rule executive order on AI this week, so that way they can help to keep AI at the top priority and accelerate it at a rapid pace, which is basically what's happening now, but just trying to prevent any future constraints that could arise. Talking about the markets, generally what we're seeing is a lot of resiliency. The broader market here, S&P 500 down about 0.3. That's nothing big, just basically consolidating right here at 68.46. As this kind of hangs out here, you can see the index has basically been trading above 6,800 for some time now, consolidating and just basically taking a nice breather here. I think this is awesome. And depending on how the market reacts to the FOMC interest rate decision, and more likely in terms of guidance, that's where you could see a possible rally up to 7,000. Of course, you could see the vice versa of that too. We could see a lot of volatility. That Federal Open Market Committee interest rate decision here is coming out on Wednesday, like I had mentioned here, and then you get that followed up by the Jerome Powell's press conference. Also tomorrow, tomorrow for Tuesday, you get job openings. That'll be interesting, just seeing kind of basically how the labor market is looking, even though we're continuing to see signs of labor market weakness, and that I think is trying to help. The Fed is more incentivized now to cut rates, even though inflation's not been like rising, but it's just kind of been relatively sticky. Looks like they're trying to prioritize this as a basically priority to help mitigate. So what's the market basically pricing in? They're basically pricing in like nearly 100%. Like 89% chance right here of a decrease. This is up from about 70% a month ago. So this is being already priced into the market. I think what more importantly, what investors are going to be listening to is, beyond the anticipated cut, what's going to be Powell's move and his guidance going into 2026, into, his terms expiring in May 2026. But in terms of market expectations, with this labor market slowdown, how is he going to be looking into rate cuts for 2026? That's where you're going to see more volatility. How is the market going to price that in? Or since this term is coming to an end, will the market kind of ignore that? Who knows? We don't know. I mean, that's only going to happen just in due time. But other than that, that's what we're just going to be kind of hanging out, waiting for on Wednesday until we see the market, I think, make some bigger moves. Cryptocurrency, very interesting moves. We see Bitcoin that is basically here at 90,000, and I think people are just, patience is not working out for those that are impatient. You see Bitcoin that basically pops up here to about 93, comes back down to the 90s, back up to basically 92, back here to the 90s, and is kind of hanging out right at the zone. Ethereum has been doing a good job hanging above 3,100 actually. We see a dip down slightly here to about 3,000 over the weekend, but kind of back up at that 3,100 zone. And what's that mean for BMNR, as we've been talking about? BMNR is also at a decent area at 35.43. So for people that took the pain all the way down to $23 basically, now they're seeing a little bit of optimism that's coming back into the actual crypto market, especially with these digital asset treasuries. And that's where we're sitting at with Bitmine right here at 35.43. In terms of what Tom Lee's been doing, that's kind of what got me reinterested back into Ethereum. He's just been buying like no other. As you can see here, remember, of course, with Bitmine, their whole goal and their milestone that they're trying to reach is the alchemy of 5%, reaching 5% of the circulating supply. The purchase here, they're adding now for a total supply of 3.8 million. That's worth about 12.1 on their 12.1 billion on their balance sheet right here. So this is about 3.2% of the circulating supply, valuing the treasury at 13.2 billion. So he's continuing to accumulate, especially at these prices, basically putting his money where his mouth is and showing that conviction really is strong within Tom Lee. So we'll see what happens if we're going to either see some reward or some actual tokenization, and then we see the kind of incorporation of traditional finance in the DeFi sector, or if we're all going to become community members. We'll see what happens. Quickly, looking here at the AI data center trade, you see CoreWeave, Cypher, Iren, Nebius all down about the same percentage, about little under 1% across the board, not making any crazy moves. We see SoFi obviously did not get included to the S&P 500. We have the dilution concerns. SoFi went here from 30 back down to 27. So some interesting things happening in the market. Like I said, kind of consolidating, not personally taking any big trades or really about volatile trades. It'll probably after we see more market direction after the FOMC rate meeting. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.